Life is a journey that we don't walk alone, but not everyone you meet along the way is meant to stay by your side. There are people who, through their actions, habits, and mindsets, hinder rather than help. To fulfill your purpose, you must become intentional about who you allow into your inner circle. This requires courage, clarity, and the strength to discern who adds value to your life and who drains it. Let us explore the types of people you should never tolerate if you are committed to reaching your full potential. There are 6 types of people you should never tolerate. Number 1, people who constantly drain your energy. In life, there are individuals who seem to take more than they give, and their presence often feels like a heavy burden. These people who constantly drain your energy may not always do so intentionally, but their effect on you is undeniable. They enter your life with a barrage of demands, complaints, and negativity, leaving you feeling exhausted and emotionally spent. The more time you spend with them, the more drained and less motivated you become. This is because they rarely contribute positively to your well-being or your emotional state. They seem to thrive on receiving attention, sympathy, or assistance without offering much in return. These individuals often come across as perpetual victims of their circumstances. Every conversation with them is dominated by tales of their misfortunes, frustrations, and endless problems. They tend to focus solely on themselves and rarely show interest in your life, your goals, or your well-being. Their energy is not only negative but also demanding. They expect you to be available whenever they need you, without consideration for your own emotional or mental state. The emotional toll they take can be subtle at first, but over time, their constant need for attention and validation becomes draining. It is important to recognize that these people often lack self-awareness. They don't necessarily intend to harm you, but their inability to manage their own emotions, problems, or needs makes them emotionally taxing to be around. They might not understand that their constant negativity and neediness are weighing heavily on others. As a result, they rarely take steps to change or improve themselves. They depend on others to lift them out of their emotional low points, constantly seeking support without ever considering how this impacts the people around them. Their reliance on others becomes habitual, turning the relationship into a one-sided dynamic where they are constantly taking and you are always giving. What makes this dynamic even more damaging is the fact that they rarely offer any kind of reciprocal support. When you need help or when you face challenges, these individuals often become unavailable or indifferent. They may dismiss your problems as insignificant compared to their own, or simply fail to recognize when you're the one in need. This lack of balance in the relationship further deepens the sense of exhaustion. The more you give, the less you have for yourself. Over time, your energy, focus, and emotional reserves are depleted, making it harder for you to pursue your own goals or maintain your well-being. Moreover, these energy-draining individuals often thrive in environments where they are the center of attention. They may be attracted to situations where they can command sympathy, pity, or constant reassurance. They may surround themselves with people who are compassionate and empathetic because these individuals are more likely to tolerate their behavior. But over time, even the most patient and giving individuals will find themselves worn down by the constant demands. The relationship becomes unhealthy, not because of any overt malice, but because it is so fundamentally unbalanced. One of the most difficult aspects of dealing with people who drain your energy is that they often don't recognize the harm they're causing. They may express genuine gratitude when you help them, but their gratitude rarely translates into meaningful change. Instead, they continue to rely on others, never learning to manage their own emotions, solve their own problems, or take responsibility for their own well-being. As long as you allow them to take from you, they will continue to do so. They are not malicious in intent, but their lack of self-awareness and emotional dependence make them harmful to your mental, emotional, and even physical health. The constant energy drain can lead to burnout. When you're always giving and never receiving, your own emotional resources become depleted. You may find yourself feeling anxious, frustrated, or even resentful after spending time with these individuals. Over time, their influence can lead to a loss of motivation as you become consumed by their problems rather than focused on your own growth and progress. Your creativity, productivity, and emotional resilience all suffer as you are constantly pouring into someone else's cup while your own remains empty. The cycle of exhaustion caused by energy-draining individuals can be broken, but it requires a clear understanding of the dynamics at play. Recognizing the impact these people have on your life is the first step. Once you acknowledge the toll they are taking, you can begin to set boundaries that protect your energy and well-being. Number 2, people who undermine your growth. There are certain individuals in life who may appear supportive on the surface but subtly undermine your growth in ways that can be difficult to detect at first. These people often have insecurities or unresolved issues within themselves that make them uncomfortable with your progress. Instead of celebrating your achievements, they question your ambitions, criticize your ideas, or sow seeds of doubt about your potential. They might not openly discourage you, but their behavior slowly erodes your confidence and plants uncertainty in your mind. These actions, whether intentional or not, can create a toxic atmosphere where your growth is stifled rather than nurtured. One of the key tactics of people who undermine your growth is their ability to mask their discouragement as concern or advice. They may present themselves as looking out for your best interests, warning you against taking risks or trying something new. However, their real motivation is often rooted in their own fears and limitations. They are uncomfortable with your growth because it highlights their own stagnation or lack of progress. By questioning your decisions, they are projecting their insecurities onto you, making you second-guess yourself and your path. It becomes a subtle form of manipulation where they hold you back under the guise of care or wisdom. These individuals are often passive in their approach. Rather than directly telling you not to pursue your dreams, they may simply fail to offer encouragement. They won't celebrate your victories or show genuine excitement about your success. Instead, they may downplay your achievements, suggesting that they are not as significant as you think. This lack of acknowledgement can make you question the value of your progress. It can create a lingering doubt in your mind, as if your accomplishments are somehow insufficient or unworthy of recognition. This constant undercurrent of doubt can weigh heavily on your motivation, making you feel like your efforts are never enough. Another way people undermine your growth is by comparing you to others in a way that diminishes your achievements. They may point out how someone else is doing better, achieving more, or progressing faster. While comparison can sometimes be healthy if it pushes you to improve, when done in a negative or condescending way, it becomes harmful. Instead of inspiring you to grow, it makes you feel inadequate or less accomplished. These comparisons are often designed to shift the focus away from your success and toward your perceived shortcomings, effectively undermining your sense of worth and capability. In many cases, those who undermine your growth are driven by jealousy or a fear of being left behind. As you advance in your personal or professional life, they may feel threatened by your success. Your growth may serve as a mirror, reflecting their own lack of progress or unfulfilled potential. Rather than addressing their own shortcomings, they try to pull you back to their level, hoping to maintain the status quo. This behavior often comes from a place of insecurity and fear. They don't want to see you rise higher, because it makes them feel as though they are falling behind. What makes this type of relationship particularly damaging is the subtlety of the undermining behavior. It often happens slowly over time in small comments, passive-aggressive remarks, or dismissive attitudes. You may not even realize that it's happening until you begin to feel the weight of their influence. It's easy to overlook or excuse their behavior because it's not always overt or confrontational. However, over time, their words and actions accumulate, creating a negative environment where you begin to doubt your abilities and question the path you're on. These people may also create obstacles to your growth by discouraging you from stepping outside your comfort zone. They may make you feel that taking risks is irresponsible or that change is dangerous. Their goal is to keep you in a familiar, safe space, even if it means you are not growing or reaching your full potential. By instilling fear of the unknown, they prevent you from exploring new opportunities or embracing challenges that could lead to significant personal or professional growth. This fear of change becomes a barrier, keeping you stuck in a cycle of complacency and limiting your ability to evolve. People who undermine your growth may also surround you with negativity. They may focus on the potential for failure rather than success, constantly pointing out the risks and challenges involved in your pursuits. This pessimistic outlook can be contagious, and if you're not careful, you may start to adopt their negative mindset. The more you are exposed to this kind of negativity, the more it chips away at your optimism and motivation. It becomes harder to stay focused on your goals when you are constantly bombarded with reasons why you shouldn't bother trying. Individuals who undermine your growth create a toxic environment where your confidence, ambition, and enthusiasm are gradually diminished. Their influence may not be obvious at first, but over time, it can erode your sense of self-worth and stifle your potential. Recognizing this dynamic is crucial in order to protect your growth and surround yourself with people who genuinely support and uplift you. Number 3, people who lack integrity. People who lack integrity are often difficult to identify at first, as they may appear trustworthy, charismatic, and even successful. However, over time, their actions reveal a deeper truth. Integrity is about being honest, reliable, and consistent in one's values, regardless of the situation. It is the foundation of trust in any relationship, whether personal or professional. When someone lacks integrity, their behavior becomes unpredictable, and the trust that may have once existed begins to erode. They are often willing to bend or break the rules to serve their own interests, disregarding the impact on others. Their actions can cause damage not only to their own lives, but to everyone they interact with. These individuals may manipulate situations to their advantage, often through deceit or half-truths. They might say one thing to your face and do something entirely different behind your back. They are skilled at presenting a version of themselves that fits the moment, changing their stance depending on who they are with or what they want to achieve. This inconsistency makes it impossible to build genuine trust with them. You never truly know where they stand because their values shift based on convenience rather than conviction. Over time, this behavior leads to confusion, frustration, and eventually a breakdown in the relationship. Lack of integrity is also evident in the way these individuals handle responsibility and accountability. When things go wrong, they are quick to deflect blame or deny involvement. They may refuse to own up to their mistakes, instead pointing fingers at others to protect their image. This avoidance of accountability creates a culture of distrust, as people around them begin to realize that they cannot be relied upon to be honest or to take responsibility for their actions. Their unwillingness to admit fault not only damages their credibility, but also harms the people who are forced to take the fall for their dishonesty. In an environment where integrity is absent, progress becomes difficult because there is no foundation of trust to build on. People who lack integrity often justify their actions by claiming that the ends justify the means. They may lie, cheat, or manipulate situations, believing that as long as they achieve their goals, the methods used don't matter. This mindset is dangerous because it creates a moral slippery slope where boundaries are continuously pushed and ethical lines are crossed. What begins as a small compromise can quickly escalate into larger breaches of integrity. Eventually, these individuals become so accustomed to compromising their values that it becomes second nature. They lose sight of the importance of honesty and fairness, operating from a place of selfishness and greed rather than a commitment to doing what is right. This lack of integrity not only impacts their own lives, but also those who are associated with them. Whether in business, friendships, or family, their dishonesty can lead to mistrust, broken relationships, and even financial or legal consequences. The ripple effects of their actions spread far beyond themselves, often leaving others to clean up the mess they have created. For example, in a business setting, a leader who lacks integrity may make decisions that benefit them personally at the expense of the company or its employees. They may cut corners, engage in unethical practices, or lie to stakeholders, ultimately damaging the reputation and success of the organization. Similarly, in personal relationships, a person who lacks integrity may betray trust through lies or infidelity, leaving emotional scars that can take years to heal. Moreover, people who lack integrity are often skilled at hiding their true nature, at least for a while. They may appear charming, intelligent, and even altruistic in public, but behind the scenes, their actions tell a different story. This duplicity can make it difficult to recognize their lack of integrity until it's too late. By the time their true colors are revealed, significant damage may have already been done. Their ability to deceive others into believing they are trustworthy can make them dangerous, especially if they hold positions of power or influence. They use their charm to manipulate situations to their advantage, all while concealing their true intentions. As you begin to recognize the patterns of behavior that reveal a lack of integrity, you can protect yourself from being drawn into their web of deceit. People who lack integrity rarely change without significant self-awareness and a desire to correct their behavior, which many are unwilling to do. Their focus remains on themselves and their immediate gain, with little regard for the consequences of their actions on others. They may feel justified in their behavior, rationalizing their dishonesty as necessary for survival or success, but this perspective only serves to deepen the divide between them and those who value honesty and transparency. In the long run, people who lack integrity often face the consequences of their actions. Trust is difficult to rebuild once it has been broken, and eventually their dishonest ways catch up with them. Relationships fall apart, careers are damaged, and reputations are tarnished. Those around them begin to distance themselves, recognizing the harm that comes from associating with someone who cannot be trusted. The short-term gains they achieve through dishonesty and manipulation eventually give way to long-term consequences that leave them isolated and without the support or respect of others. Number 4. People who refuse to take responsibility. People who refuse to take responsibility create a frustrating dynamic in any relationship or environment, whether personal or professional. These individuals are quick to blame others for their mistakes, failures, or shortcomings, avoiding any accountability for their actions. They may constantly shift the burden of their errors onto those around them, creating a toxic atmosphere where problems are never fully addressed or resolved. Instead of facing their own role in a situation, they deny, deflect, or excuse their behavior, making it difficult for others to trust or depend on them. This refusal to take responsibility is rooted in a fear of being seen as flawed or imperfect, but it ultimately leads to stagnation and dysfunction in relationships, teams, or organizations. At the core of their behavior is often an unwillingness to confront their own limitations or mistakes. They may see admitting fault as a sign of weakness, so instead they create narratives where external circumstances or other people are always to blame. This mindset allows them to maintain a sense of control or superiority, even when they are clearly at fault. However, this avoidance of responsibility only deepens their issues. By not acknowledging their role in mistakes, they miss out on opportunities for growth and self-improvement. They remain stuck in a cycle of denial, never learning from their experiences, and as a result, they are unable to progress in any meaningful way. People who refuse to take responsibility often exhibit a pattern of behavior that becomes increasingly predictable over time. Whenever a problem arises, they are the first to point fingers, whether at colleagues, friends, family members, or even circumstances beyond anyone's control. They might say things like, "It wasn't my fault," or "if only so-and-so had done their part, this wouldn't have happened." This type of deflection can create tension within teams or relationships because others are left to shoulder the burden of the unresolved issues. Instead of working together to find solutions, energy is wasted on assigning blame and defending positions, which prevents progress and cooperation. This pattern can also create a toxic environment, especially in professional settings. When individuals in positions of power or influence refuse to take responsibility for their actions, they set a negative example for others. It sends the message that accountability is not valued, and as a result, the entire team or organization may begin to suffer from a lack of ownership and initiative. Projects can stall, Mistakes go uncorrected, and a culture of blame takes root, where people become more focused on avoiding responsibility than on finding solutions. This atmosphere of avoidance stifles creativity and innovation because people become afraid to take risks or speak up, fearing they will be blamed if things go wrong. In personal relationships, the refusal to take responsibility can be equally damaging. It erodes trust and respect, as one person constantly feels like they are carrying the weight of the relationship. Over time, this imbalance can lead to resentment, as the individual who is always held accountable becomes exhausted from taking on the emotional or practical burdens of the relationship. The person who refuses to acknowledge their mistakes may become defensive when confronted, often escalating conflicts rather than resolving them. This can lead to a breakdown in communication, as the other person may feel unheard or invalidated in their concerns. Without the willingness to admit fault and work together towards solutions, the relationship begins to suffer, often leading to distance or disconnection. One of the most significant consequences of refusing to take responsibility is the inability to grow. People who deny their mistakes or avoid accountability are trapped in a cycle of repetition. They fail to learn from their errors because they never truly accept that they made any. Instead of reflecting on what went wrong and how they could improve, they remain focused on blaming others or external circumstances. This lack of self-awareness keeps them stuck in the same patterns, repeating the same mistakes over and over again. They may wonder why they never seem to achieve the success or happiness they desire, but they are unable to see that their refusal to take responsibility is the root cause of their stagnation. In the long run, people who refuse to take responsibility often find themselves isolated. Friends, family members, colleagues, and even employers grow tired of dealing with someone who never admits fault or takes accountability. Trust is eroded, and relationships begin to break down as others realize that they cannot rely on this person to step up when it matters. In professional settings, this lack of responsibility can lead to missed opportunities, as employers seek out individuals who are accountable and capable of learning from their mistakes. Over time, the consequences of avoiding responsibility accumulate, leaving these individuals with fewer and fewer people willing to support or work with them. The refusal to take responsibility may offer short-term relief from uncomfortable situations, but it ultimately leads to long-term consequences. Without accountability, there can be no meaningful growth or progress. Mistakes are a natural part of life, and taking ownership of them is the first step toward learning and improvement. When people refuse to do this, they cut themselves off from the opportunity to develop resilience, wisdom, and strength. Number 5. People who constantly gossip and criticize. People who constantly gossip and criticize create a negative and toxic environment wherever they go. Their conversations are often filled with the faults, shortcomings, and mistakes of others, and they rarely offer constructive feedback or solutions. Instead, their focus is on tearing others down, spreading rumors, or sharing half-truths to elevate themselves or feel important. This behavior may seem harmless at first, as gossip is often disguised as harmless chatter or concern. However, over time, it becomes clear that these individuals are more interested in causing division and mistrust than in fostering healthy communication or relationships. The root of gossip and constant criticism often stems from insecurity or a desire to feel superior. When people feel uncertain about their own abilities, worth, or position, they may resort to gossip as a way to redirect attention away from their own flaws. By focusing on the perceived mistakes or inadequacies of others, they avoid addressing their own shortcomings. This allows them to feel a temporary sense of superiority or control, as they believe they are in the position to judge or critique those around them. However, this behavior ultimately reveals their own insecurities, as confident and secure individuals do not need to diminish others to feel good about themselves. Gossipers and critics often thrive in environments where negativity is accepted or even encouraged. They seek out like-minded individuals who will participate in their conversations and validate their behavior. This creates a cycle where gossip and criticism become the norm, and anyone who refuses to participate may be viewed as an outsider or a threat. In these environments, trust erodes quickly, people begin to wonder who is talking about them behind their backs, and genuine communication becomes nearly impossible. Rather than focusing on collaboration or support, individuals become guarded and defensive, fearing they will be the next target of gossip or unfair criticism. This type of behavior is particularly damaging in professional settings. In the workplace, gossip and criticism can lead to a breakdown in team cohesion and morale. Employees may feel demoralized if they believe they are being judged unfairly, or if they hear rumors about themselves or their colleagues. It creates an atmosphere of fear and mistrust, where people are more focused on protecting their reputation than on doing their best work. Over time, this toxic culture can lead to high turnover, decreased productivity, and a lack of innovation, as employees become reluctant to share ideas or take risks for fear of being criticized or talked about behind their backs. In personal relationships, constant gossip and criticism are equally damaging. Friendships and family bonds suffer when one person is constantly finding fault with others or spreading rumors. This behavior can create a wedge between people, as trust is undermined. Friends may begin to question the motives of the gossiper, wondering if they are being judged or talked about when they are not around. Family members may distance themselves, tired of the negative energy and the constant criticism. Over time, the relationships weaken as people pull away to protect themselves from the harmful effects of gossip and judgment. Another significant issue with people who constantly gossip and criticize is their inability to see the harm they are causing. They often justify their behavior by claiming they are simply telling the truth or expressing concern. However, their comments rarely come from a place of genuine care or a desire to help others improve. Instead, their words are meant to tear down or highlight flaws, often without any consideration for the feelings or well-being of the person being discussed. This lack of empathy or awareness deepens the divide between them and those around them, as people begin to recognize that their words are more harmful than helpful. Over time, those who constantly gossip and criticize may find themselves isolated. People grow weary of the negativity and the destructive impact it has on their lives. While gossipers may initially attract attention and seem popular, their behavior eventually drives people away. Trust is a foundational element of any relationship, and once it is broken, it is difficult to repair. People who have been hurt by gossip or unfair criticism are unlikely to remain close to those who cause the harm. Instead, they seek out relationships that are built on mutual respect, support, and understanding, qualities that are absent in a relationship dominated by gossip and criticism. Additionally, people who engage in constant gossip and criticism often lack self-awareness. They may not realize how their words are perceived by others or the extent of the damage they are causing. In their minds, they may believe they are offering valuable insights or observations, not recognizing that their behavior is actually toxic and harmful. This lack of awareness prevents them from making meaningful changes to their behavior. They continue to engage in the same destructive patterns, further alienating themselves from others and deepening the negativity in their own lives. What makes this behavior especially insidious is that it often goes unchecked for a long time. People may tolerate gossip or criticism because it can be difficult to confront. Many individuals prefer to avoid conflict, especially when the gossiper is someone in a position of power or influence. However, by not addressing the issue, the behavior continues to spread, affecting more and more people. It's not until the damage becomes severe, such as when a team falls apart or relationships crumble, that people realize the true cost of allowing gossip and criticism to flourish unchecked. And the last one are people who don't respect boundaries. People who don't respect boundaries can create significant strain in relationships, whether personal or professional. Boundaries are essential for maintaining a sense of autonomy, safety, and mutual respect between individuals. They define what is acceptable and what is not, providing clear guidelines on how people should interact with each other. When someone consistently disregards these boundaries, it becomes a violation of trust and personal space. These individuals may not fully understand or acknowledge the importance of boundaries, or they may simply choose to ignore them for their own benefit. Regardless of the reason, the impact of such behavior is often negative, leading to frustration, resentment, and emotional exhaustion for those who are affected. One of the primary reasons people fail to respect boundaries is a lack of awareness or understanding. Some individuals may not have grown up in environments where boundaries were emphasized or respected. As a result, they may not fully comprehend why certain lines shouldn't be crossed. However, in most cases, people are aware of boundaries but choose to ignore them because they prioritize their own desires or needs over those of others. They may feel entitled to your time, energy, or resources without considering your comfort or well-being. This sense of entitlement often leads them to push past your limits, leaving you feeling overwhelmed, disrespected, or even violated. When people don't respect boundaries, they often disregard the importance of personal space, both physically and emotionally. They might show up unannounced, expect constant access to your time and attention, or pry into aspects of your life that you have clearly marked as private. This type of behavior can leave you feeling suffocated or invaded, as if your needs and preferences are irrelevant. It becomes difficult to maintain a sense of balance in these relationships because the person who doesn't respect boundaries tends to dominate interactions, always seeking more than you are willing or able to give. In professional settings, a lack of boundary respect can manifest in various ways, such as co-workers or supervisors overstepping their roles, making unreasonable demands, or expecting you to be available outside of work hours. When boundaries aren't respected at work, it can lead to burnout, stress, and decreased job satisfaction. People who refuse to acknowledge boundaries may also take credit for others' work, invade personal conversations, or disregard professional hierarchies. This creates an uncomfortable and sometimes hostile environment where individuals feel they cannot protect their professional space or personal time, resulting in decreased productivity and morale. On a deeper emotional level, people who don't respect boundaries often fail to recognize the impact their behavior has on others' mental and emotional well-being. They may dismiss or minimize your concerns when you try to establish or reinforce your boundaries, often making you feel as though your needs are not valid. This can be particularly damaging in close relationships, where emotional boundaries are essential for maintaining trust and security. When someone consistently disregards these limits, it can create an imbalance in the relationship, where one person feels overextended and the other remains oblivious or indifferent to the emotional toll they are causing. Another aspect of boundary disrespect is manipulation. People who don't respect boundaries may use guilt, pressure, or emotional manipulation to get what they want, making it difficult for you to say no. They might frame your boundaries as unreasonable or accuse you of being selfish for setting them. This tactic is designed to wear down your resistance, making you feel obligated to comply with their demands, even when it goes against your better judgment. Over time, this type of manipulation can erode your confidence in your ability to assert yourself, leaving you feeling powerless to protect your own needs and desires. One of the most frustrating aspects of dealing with people who don't respect boundaries is that they often fail to change their behavior even after being confronted. You may clearly communicate your boundaries only to find that the person continues to disregard them or test the limits. This can lead to a constant cycle of boundary violations, confrontations, and broken promises, leaving you feeling drained and disrespected. It becomes clear that their disregard for boundaries is not a matter of misunderstanding, but rather at a lack of consideration for your well-being. In many cases, the refusal to respect boundaries stems from a need for control. People who consistently push past limits often seek to dominate or manipulate their environment and the people in it. They may see boundaries as obstacles to their desires, and instead of honoring them, they try to break them down. This controlling behavior can manifest in subtle ways, such as making small demands that slowly escalate over time, or in more overt actions, such as ignoring repeated requests to stop certain behaviors. Regardless of how it presents itself, the underlying issue is a lack of respect for others' autonomy and personal space. When people fail to respect boundaries, it often leads to the breakdown of trust. Boundaries are a form of mutual respect, and when one person consistently ignores them, it signals a lack of regard for the other's feelings and needs. Over time, this erodes the foundation of trust that is essential for healthy relationships. Without boundaries, individuals may begin to feel taken advantage of or disrespected, leading to resentment and emotional distance. In some cases, the repeated violation of boundaries can even lead to the end of the relationship, as it becomes clear that the person is unwilling or unable to honor the basic respect required for a healthy interaction. In conclusion, I would say in life, the people we surround ourselves with have a profound impact on our growth, peace, and fulfillment. Those who drain our energy, undermine our growth, lack integrity, refuse to take responsibility, gossip, or disrespect our boundaries create environments of toxicity and limitation. It is vital to recognize these behaviors and guard against them, as they can erode trust, impede progress, and steal joy. Our time and energy are precious resources, and by setting firm boundaries and refusing to tolerate negative influences, we protect our well-being and foster environments of mutual respect and support. Surrounding ourselves with those who uplift and challenge us in positive ways allows us to thrive and reach our full potential. It's not only about who we invite into our lives, but also about who we choose to keep out, ensuring that our path remains clear for growth, purpose, and meaningful relationships.